Okay, perfect. Then hello everyone, TBM crew. Here we are today with Allisha McAdoo, who is the author of the Rumple Chronicles, and I'm Cursed, right? Hello, Allisha.
Yeah.
How are
Hi.
you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm so happy to have you here with us. Why don't you talk about a bit about your work so people get to know you a bit better?
Well, I am an author on Amazon. I've got 25 paperbacks out.
Wow.
I also write young adult comedy fiction
Hmm.
under a pen name. It's my name, but with a Y. And I'm also on Godless, and I've got, I think, 12, close to
Wow.
12 books out on Godless as well.
That's a lot. That's
I'm
amazing.
trying to release something every month on Godless and then
Wow.
every 3 months on Amazon.
That's amazing. And how did you got into horror? Have you always been a fan?
Yes, I actually started writing when I was about 4 years old.
Wow.
I was in a kind of like an advanced class already at 4,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to write an assignment, and the teacher said it was too dark and made me rewrite it. And I just kind of been in love with horror ever since.
Yes, that's awesome. And did you have a favorite book? Something that got you haunted?
Actually, yeah, it's kind of like a version of Brothers Grimm fairy tales,
Mhm.
but it was called the Big Book of Goodnight Stories, and it was about stories all around the world, and it was
Yeah.
supposed to be a story each day. And some of them got a little creepy, and it was just really great reading.
Yes. See, sometimes, well, very often, the stories for kids are so creepy. In
Yeah,
general, the songs and the tales, sometimes I've been reading something to my kid like, I'm not finishing this because you're not going to sleep in weeks. You know? And it's
yeah.
supposed, right, it's supposed to be for kids. So okay, and for all our readers that are listening to us, if they have to choose one of your books to start reading your work, which one would be? What do you recommend?
It would definitely be Rumple Chronicles. That's my dark take on Rumpelstiltskin, like more
Yeah.
modernized.
That's amazing. Okay, and they can find this in Godless, right?
The Rumble Chronicles is available on Amazon right now
Amazon.
in
Okay.
paperback and on ebook, Kindle.
Okay, and what are your inspirations when you are writing? What kind of things do you base on when you have to write a story for any reason?
I mean, honestly, I use life experiences. I use just about anything that I can turn into a story. I'm always writing. Like sometimes when I don't have paper or pen, I'm like sitting there writing on my hand so I don't forget.
Yes. And what are your projects right now?
Right now, I am working on 2 collaborations, and
Mhm.
I'm working on my dark version of Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, amazing. And are they gonna be ready soon?
I just started the 2 collaborations, and I am the Beast, is which my Beauty and the Beast stories. They should be ready here in about a month or so.
Nah, that's so quick. What something I always ask to the authors, in a matter of movies of filmmakers, what do you prefer, the traditional horror or the nowadays horror?
I like kind of in between. I started watching horror, and my favorite movie was Beetlejuice,
Ah,
and so I kind of based everything around Beetlejuice.
yes,
And I like the modern twist sometimes. So I kind of like a mashup of.
yes. I think the creepy factor of traditional horror is that it's very simple, and most of it happens in your mind.
Yeah.
I think that now everything is too graphic, so to speak, right? Everything is given to you. Nothing happens in your mind. Sometimes, like when you're at home, for example, and you hear a noise and you suddenly realize you're alone with that noise, and you stop breathing to see if it was you doing that noise. That is a terrifying moment when you find there can be something with you, and it's everything in your mind. Nothing has, you only have that noise, right? And maybe it's just a neighbor waking up. I mean, it can be nothing at all, right? So
yeah,
I think what kind of horror do you think you bring in your books? It's like more psychological, more graphic?
definitely more graphic, definitely psychological. I like to make regular everyday people turn into villains, and I like to make my readers love to hate them.
Well, readers usually have the bad habit of deciding who we hate and who we love in the books. And we get so upset when they die. It happens to me very often. So what do you have any influence in your writing, in your work, like you said Beetlejuice, for example, but do you have something like in the background that, for example, a movie that you remember, or a kind of a scene that you like, or something like that that really influences your work?
Actually, I have two authors that kind of influenced me a little bit growing up. It was Robert McCannon and John Saul.
Okay.
And I remember reading the book Mine by Robert McCannon about this woman who gets her baby stolen by another woman who's stuck in her past.
Yeah.
And it just blew my mind, like sky high. And I was like, I have to start investigating this type of genre. And I just couldn't get enough of it. And then same thing with John Saul. He had that creepy kind of Stephen King thing to his list. And I just couldn't get enough of that. So I kind of merged the two and made my own style.
Yes, I understand. I perfectly understand, because sometimes the more scary things happen in daily routines, as you say, that to turn into villains, the regular people. Like, for example, it's not cataloged as horror, but Criminal Minds, the show Criminal Minds. There's a lot of episodes that could be horror perfectly, but because it's just a psychopath hunting people. And I think that the scary factor is that it's possible. Why not? Right?
Yeah.
Why not the guy that comes to fix the toilet? It's not crazy, you know. It's that.
A lot of my stories deal with real life situations that have gone bad, you know. And I mean, occasionally I put a supernatural twist to it because I like to dabble in multiple genres. But most of it is just everyday situation, people getting their own end. And I think that's what makes my writing scarier than, say, reading a ghost story, because people can relate to it.
Yeah, some of the best books that I have read had these two factors that you say, because when they shock me the most, because it's difficult to surprise me in a book. I mean, when I'm surprised because of an end or something that happens, I think, wow, this is a really good book, because it's very. I have read and watched so much horror, and I have a lot of files in my mind, and very often you say, this is going to happen, and it happens most of the time. But what surprised me the most in books is when you think it's either way, you think it's something mental, that is a psychopath, and it turns out that there's something supernatural behind that you didn't expect. It like, wait, I thought he was just crazy, not he was a demon, you know. Right, or backwards, that you think that it's completely supernatural, but it turns out it's just a psychopath, you know. And
I love to write twists. I love to really throw my readers, especially like with Rumpelstiltskin. It's a collection of short stories that are based around Mr. Rumple.
Yeah.
He's my supernatural villain almost, but he's so relatable because he's real life as well.
Yeah, exactly. And do you have a favorite character of yours?
Every story has a favorite character.
Okay. Couldn't you choose one? The difficult
probably
question.
Mr. Rumple. Yeah.
Yes.
I spent maybe 6-7 stories featuring him.
Yes. He has a lot to say in your work, I think.
Yes.
Yes.
So.
Okay. Do you celebrate Halloween at your home?
Oh yeah.
And how do you do it?
I still go trick-or-treating.
Yes, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And your kids, are they somehow involved in your work?
In my children's stories or like my young adult comedies, my daughter's involved. She loves horror, but I can't let her read a lot of my horror.
Yeah, I understand. Yes, they need to be able to manage that in their minds.
Yeah.
Yes, it's something similar.
And it's too in depth and twisted and stuff that I'm allowing her to read just yet. And then my 3-year-old, he likes to help with the writing process. He likes to lay on my keys when I'm trying to type. So I usually write when he's asleep.
So you're a night writer.
Yes, I actually don't sleep much because I'm usually writing.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. That's how you have all that work out. Actually.
Yeah.
Which one of your writings or books or short stories do you think that has had a best embrace by the audience? What do people love about your work?
The fact that it's unexpected. They're not expecting something in depth and that's filled with some sort of emotion, you know. They're not expecting it.
And
I think the most well received would have to still be the Rumple Chronicles. That seems to be everyone's favorite. Yes.
I think people must definitely have to start reading your Rumple Chronicles. What is working best for you? Because I have opinions of any kind. Is it better an intense short story or a long developed novel? What works best for you?
It just kind of depends. Like I said, Rumple Chronicles is short stories. They're they're short stories, but they're all collected into one, and they're all, you know, wrapped around and intertwined with each other. So I kind of made a novel with short stories, and I kind of made like this whole Allisha universe type thing to where it all connects. And I think that's where I had the most fun writing.
I can imagine. Even as a reader, I think the same. I think it's best like short, intense, because sometimes you don't have the energy or the time, or like you're dealing with kids, with household, with things, and you cannot just read a 500-page novel, and it's more difficult. But when you're reading something that it's like in parts, then it's easier to follow, right?
So I think that's how Rumple Chronicles is. It's written in parts. You know, each story I kept the original title to, and so you can sit down and read one story at a time. But by the end of the book, you will have been connected with the entire story of his life and death of Mr. Rumple. So
it's the best. I think that's a good choice to do. And if readers or the audience wants to follow you, where can they find you?
I am on Facebook. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Goodreads. I'm on Wattpad. I'm on Instagram.
Okay.
The only one I'm not on, I think, is Twitter, and that's just because my page got taken down for whatever reason. So.
Well, it happens a lot in the horror community. I see all the time people, they talk me off. I mean, it's like a regular thing in horror. But
well, I had it for a little while, and then I went to go log on, and it says you've never created a page, so I'm not quite sure what's happening there. I just never put it back up.
Okay, anyways, we will link everything in the description, all your links to your books, to everything, so everyone that wants to check you out, they can follow you. And one question that I ask to everyone, because I'm always so curious, if you had to choose one superpower, which one would be?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think I'd have to do something with telepathy. That way,
Right?
I could really mess with people's minds.
That would give you amazing material for more books.
Yes.
If you could read people's minds, even more in regular people horror, the kind of things that we think but we will never admit.
Yeah.
That makes great material. Okay, so we're running out of time, but is there any last thing you want to tell the audience?
Just keep checking me out, because I'll keep putting more stuff out.
Okay, thank you so much, Allisha, for being with us, for giving us your piece of morning. I know that it's not easy, and I'm so happy to talk to you. It's the first time we meet face to face in all these years, right?
Yeah. So I am very honored to be a part of this. So thank you very much for me.
Of course you are. You've always been for years, right? So
yeah, it's been many years.
Many years now. I feel so old. That just time just flies.
You were the first horror community that I actually joined.
Thank you. We're a beautiful community. I love it. I love everyone in there, right?
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for listening, everyone. We'll be here with more material, and if you want to follow Allisha, we'll link everything in the description, and we'll be sharing everything about her the following days, so you can check her work out. And don't forget to check her Rumpel Chronicles, which seems to be so well embraced and with lots of amazing influences in there. Okay, so thank you so much, Allisha. The best
Thank
for you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.